Good morning, student. So here we are with a new video for exercise 1.3. So before going to the exercise 1.3, we'll be understanding some basics about the irrational number. So all of you have studied about it in the last year. Okay, so let us take a short review of it. Okay, so irrational numbers are what? Irrational number are those which has a non-terminating and non-recurring decimal expansion, such as, let us take as an example 2.3123, any random number. So okay, it is what? It is a irrational number. Okay students, so let us write the definition of the irrational number. So students, it is the definition of irrational number. So now before going to the exercise 1.3, we'll know about the theorem 1.3, which is important to understand. Why? Because the questions of the exercise 1.3 will be done with the help of this theorem. What the theorem says, let p be a prime number if p divides a square, then p divides a, where a is a positive integer. So let's have a look how it works. Okay, let the first statement, the theorem says let p be a prime number. So let us take a prime number 5. Okay, so 5 is our prime number. Let us say 5 divides 25. Okay, it is true that 5 divides 25. Is it okay? Then 5 will also divide 5. Okay, why? Because you have said p divides a square, then p divides a. Simple it is. That is, a square here is 25 and a will be what? The square root of 25, that is 5. If 5 divides 25, then 5 divides 5 obviously. Okay, so this is our theorem 1.3. So we will be using it in doing the question of exercise 1.3. Okay, so let's have our first question. It is very important exercise from the point of view of examination, because the questions are asked several times from this exercise. Okay, so the first one question is, prove that root 5 is a irrational number. Okay, if we have to prove root 5 a irrational number, we will be considering at first root 5 as a rational number. So we will be writing, let us consider root 5 is a rational number. Root 5 is a rational number. Okay, so if root 5 is a rational number, it will hold a basic property of rational number, that is, every rational number can be expressed in the form of p upon q. Okay, and where q does not equals to 0 and p and q are integers. P and q are integers. So here one another thing we'll know about p and q. What it is? Here p and q are co-prime. Now this is important, because what is the meaning of co-prime? The meaning of co-prime is that both of them, that is p and q, do not have any common factor other than 1. That means both of them are having only one common factor, and that is 1. Okay, so here p and q are co-prime, that is p and q do not have any common factor other than 1. Okay, so it is like this. Now concentrate on this. Square root 5 is equals to p upon q, so we can write this q will be going in the multiplication in the left hand side, so we can write it as root 5 q equals to p, or we can write p is equals to root 5 q. So now squaring both the side, squaring both sides. So p square will be what? Square of root 5 will give you a 5, and square of q will be giving you q square. Is that okay for everybody? Okay, then now we have to consider the division lemma. Now we have studied that a is equals to bq plus r in the division lemma, that is dividend is equals to divisor into quotient plus remainder. Okay, so here also we are having p square is equals to 5q square. Now check it, this is what dividend, this is what divisor, and this is what quotient, and remainder is what 0 here. So that it says that 5 divides p square. Okay, means like this. If we are having a number, let's say 10, and 5 is dividing it, so how many times it will divide? 2 times obviously. So 5 2s are 10, that means 5 divides 10 whole time. The similar situation is here, 5 divides p square, that's why we are getting a remainder 0 whole times it is dividing, that is why we are getting a remainder 0. Okay, so we can write directly. So by Euclid's division lemma, here by Euclid's division lemma, it is clear that 5 divides p square. So by theorem 1.3 we can say 5 divides p. Okay, so here 5 divides p square. So what our theorem 1.3 says? It says if p be a prime number and p divides a square, then p divides a. Okay, so here if 5 divides p square, then 5 divides p. Okay, so that is 5 is a factor of p. Okay, simple it is, as we have seen in this example. 5 divides 10, so what are the factor of 10? 5 into 2, that means 5 is a factor of 10 obviously. Okay, similarly here if 5 divides p square, then 5 divides p, and if 5 divides p, that means 5 is a factor of p. A number can only divide another number when it is in its factors. Okay, so now since 5 is a factor of p, we can write p as, we can write, let us assume p is equals to 5c. Now take this one as equation 1. Putting the value the value of P in equation 1. So here we'll be putting the value of P in equation 1. So what it will be? 5C whole squared equals to 5Q square. Okay, now what is the square of 5? It will be 25. And what is the square of C? It will be C square. And here it will be 5Q square. Is that okay? So now 5 is in the multiplication in right hand side and it will go in the division in the left hand side. So it will give you 25 upon 5. Okay, so 5 5s are 25, that is 5 times it will cancel the 25. Okay, so it will become 5C square is equals to Q square. So here 5C square is equals to Q square. Again we can write it as Q square is equals to 5C square. Okay, so it's a vice versa. 5C square is equals to Q square. So we have written it as Q square is equals to 5C square. So here, since 5 divides Q square, hence according to the theorem 1.3, 5 will divide Q. That here we have seen in the theorem that if P divides A square, then P divides A. So here 5 divides Q square, then 5 divides Q. Simple it is. Again, hence, again by division lemma, 5 divides Q square from theorem 1.3. We can say 5 divides Q. Again, therefore, if 5 divides Q, therefore 5 is a factor of Q. Now since we have seen that 5 is a factor of P and here we have seen 5 is a factor of Q, that means both the numbers, both the integers P and Q, both of them have a common factor 5 which is other than 1. While in the starting what we have assumed that P and Q do not have any common factor other than 1. But here we can see that both of them, P and Q, are containing another factor 5. That means our assumption or what we have assumed in the starting was wrong. Because of that a contradiction arises. Okay, so what was our assumption? Our assumption was that root 5 is a rational number, so it is false, it is wrong. So that means root 5 is a irrational number. So we will be writing, it is clear that 5 is a factor of both P and Q, but we have assumed that P and Q have no common factor, other than 1. This contradiction arises due to our wrong assumption hence root 5 is a irrational number. So this was the end of our first question. Next question is, prove that 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational. So student, for approaching this question, we will be doing it in the same manner, okay, but there will be a different trick. We will not do it in the same manner as we had done the first one, okay. So what it is, how to solve it, let's see. So at first, the basic thing, since he is saying us to prove that 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational, we will be assuming this, that 3 plus 2 root 5 is a rational number. So let us consider 3 plus 2 root 5 is rational number. So if it is rational number, we can express it is in the form of P upon Q. So 3 plus 2 root 5 will be equals to P upon Q, where Q is not equals to 0 and P and Q are integers. So now here we can send this 3, since it is in the addition with this 2 root 5 in the left hand side, this 3, so we can send it to the right hand side in a with a negative sign. That means what it will be, 2 root 5 is equals to P upon Q minus 3. So now 2 is in the multiplication with root 5 in the left hand side, we will send it in the division. So what it will become, so root 5 is equals to P upon 2Q minus 3 upon 2. So here it is. Now it is a basic fact that P upon Q is a rational number. Okay, since P upon Q is a rational number, so P upon 2Q will also be the rational number, and P upon 2Q minus 3 by 2 will also be a rational number, because the rational number are closed under the operation of subtraction, okay, that we have studied in class 8th. Okay, since P upon Q is a rational number, hence P upon 2Q minus 3 by 2 will also be a rational number, but it is equals to root 5, which is an irrational number. So P upon Q is a rational number. So P upon 2Q will also be a rational number. So P upon 2Q minus 3 by 2 will also be a rational number. But it is equals to root 5. Root 5 is what? Root 5 is an irrational number. So one rational number cannot be equal to a irrational number, but it is coming here. That means we have assumed it wrong. That means our assumption was wrong. What was our assumption? Our assumption was 3 plus 2 root 5 is a rational number. That means this assumption is wrong. So this contradiction is arises due to our wrong assumption, that is 3 plus 2 root 5 is a rational number. Okay, so we'll write it. This contradiction arises due to our wrong assumption Therefore, what was our assumption? Our assumption was 3 plus 2 root 5 is a rational number. So this is our wrong assumption. So what it will be? If it is not rational, then it will be what? It will be a irrational number. Therefore, three plus 2 root 5 is a irrational number. So this is the end of the second question.